Hi, my name is Misty Parrish, but as a lot of my students and families know me, I go by Miss Misty. So I'm here today to talk to you about the emergent curricula. And so you are going to find that the emergent curriculum is can be used in every avenue. I mean, it is not just for caregivers, preschool teachers. It can be used at home and by parents or babysitters or what have you. Um, the emergent curriculum is the most important part of it is observation. You have got to observe the child to decide what it is that interests them at that particular time. Now, the thing about the emergent curricula, sorry, I just got off work not too long ago. The important thing about emergent curricula is observation because that is what it's based on. It's based on what your child is interested in, what it is that they really want to learn more about. And I guess in that aspect, I kind of take after Vitowski in his zone of proximal development, because in his theory, one of the things he said was teachers are not here to control, they are here to guide the child. And it's hard to find out. I mean, you can watch your children play, your students, your kids, um, but you may not always know exactly what interests each individual child. And that's why you'll find one of my most favorite things to use is a camera. A camera is a great thing to use, and I usually let the kids just walk around the room and take pictures, and then I love to go back and see what kind of pictures I find on it. Some are a few pretty interesting. As I go through them, of course, I find all kinds of strange things like face selfies that they take or close-ups, but they also take pictures like I found the Lincoln Logs was a very popular thing. But you better be ready to answer any questions about the pioneer days when it came to building cabins, and that's why a lot of times. But you better be ready to back up any questions your kids might ask. Like a laptop or a smartphone are a great way to do this. This is a great picture one of my kids took around the room. It's called the Rescue Letter Game. We usually play it around Halloween, and the letters are all velcroed on these little spider web. I control the spider that is dropping back and going back and forth and dropping up and down, while the kids have to try to rescue whatever letter I hold up after they've repeated that letter. So, what is an emergent classroom or curricula? Emergent curricula is when you take the interest of a child and you explore even more. Basically, you're just kind of guiding them along the path. There are many things around here that could be used. Our Christmas tree, for example. Here, let me give you a little tour. We have our science area where you can see we have lots of books for the children to go through. We have all kinds of shells and animals and dinosaurs. We have posters, anything to provoke the scientific mind. In here, we have our kitchen area and our dress area where people can be doctors, cops, firemen, lawyers, even a construction worker there on the end. If we go on around, say, hi, John. That would be John the Toad. You can see the alphabet is on the closet right here. Let me zoom in just a little bit. Okay, not zooming very good, but here are pictures of the alphabet along with things like we have Gary the Goose, Holly the Horse, stuff like that. So the kids can relate pictures to animals, and that often raises questions too. Our transportation area is the same way. We have blocks, we have cars, all kinds of different things for the kids to enjoy. Whoa! Sorry for this rough ride, but then over here you will see the How Do You Feel poster. I love this poster because when the kids don't want to talk, it's a great way for them to just point out their feelings. You can see our Christmas tree over here. And with that, we will start again. So, how do you get your kids interested? They're already interested. All you have to do is build on that. You find things like with John, the kids were just fascinated with finding a toad on the playground, and I got tired of them calling him a frog and decided that we would learn the difference together. Hence, that's where our first ever science book in here came from, Toads and Frogs. I also did a lot of research on the internet. Another aspect to look at is outside. We learned last year about frostbite and how that can happen when you're in the cold too long. And how we did this was we used snow that I had brought from inside since the kids couldn't go out and play in it. I brought it inside, put it in a nice little sensory table, put some gloves on them, and they built their own little snowmen that we actually sat outside a classroom window. Okay, so a lot of the pictures I review on my camera are often of me in the middle of games. So this kind of helps me get an idea of what are the favorite games of the children. I also find that they love to do and learn about outdoor stuff, such as here we are flying a kite and learning about the wind and how it keeps a kite in the air. And here you will meet John Deere. John Deere has been our toad now for 3 years. It started out as a 2-week project. The kids found him on the playground next to a swing set and kept calling it a frog. After them calling him a frog for so long, I just had to start the Toad Project, in which we researched how to make a habitat and take care of one. We learned that all you need is dirt to place in the bottom. You need approximately 2 inches high of dirt and a good size aquarium. We started out with a 10-gallon aquarium and moved on later to a 20-gallon aquarium. And the kids love to redo his habitat every year, and this gives the new kids an opportunity to do it as well. As you can tell, this is a recent picture, and John wasn't happy about waiting for his new home. This can also be an environmental education program for the kids, because by taking care of the toad, they have learned that they have to clean the rocks on a regular basis. We clean John's rocks and we have to add distilled water. We've also found his favorite food is roly-polies or pill bugs. They are awfully also can die from eating ladybugs. So
You've seen how we can bring the outdoors in. What about introducing things like diversity, stuff like that? I introduce things like Hawaii, Ireland, Australia, many different subjects. My kids showed an interest in volcanoes, is how it actually all started. Hence, we decided to start the Hawaii project. And I admit I get a little bit wild and carried away with some of these projects, but I have a pretty creative mind and I like to come up with a lot of different ideas.
So the first one we ever made was using a bunch of leftover Play-Doh I wasn't real sure what to do with. So we kind of put it around a vase to build our volcano. Then the children painted this vase or all this Play-Doh after it dried, and we started learning about volcanoes. They then decided they needed to pretend that they were on an airplane and make a trip over to Hawaii. I found a video on YouTube, one of a plane coming and going, and another one of it landing actually in Hawaii. It was really cute because they had their pilots, their stewardesses, they got them their food and drinks, and even had someone for leis when they got off the plane. Here you can see me using simple baking soda and vinegar with a little bit of red food coloring to make our volcano explode. The kids, this was their favorite part of building a volcano. But they also enjoyed pretending they were actually at volcanoes. Once again, YouTube found some videos of exploding volcanoes, and the kids would pretend they were hiding behind rocks and watching the volcanoes explode. Hula dancing is another popular thing that we do during the the children learn about the different styles of hula. Of course, as you can tell, they like the sped up one, not the really so much the storytelling one. This is a puzzle that is infamous in my room. It has all different fish, and on the back of each piece, which is a fish, it explains what their name is and where they live. This usually creates the interest for the under the sea.
Okay, as I said, this puzzle is a wonderful resource in my room. In it, you have different, your puzzle pieces are different shapes. What I like about it is on the back, it tells you what the name of it is, other names that can be used for it, how big they can get, what they eat, and where all they are at. And this can raise a lot of questions with the children. So to keep this curiosity going, like I said, you need to know what you're talking about because you don't want to give false information. Another project we do, like I said, toilet paper rolls. This you will see where we made a squid. And all they do is they paint them. And after they dry, then I cut these little slits and I just simply push them up to make them stick out. Now this one, the child decided to add 2 eyeballs to it. And then what we did was we took a string and we hung them around my classroom. Here at the school, I tend to use this powder paint. It's non-toxic and everything, and it goes on most of my projects pretty well, and I can mix up as much or as little as I need. Another important thing to have when doing projects is googly eyes. So, on to our jellyfish. This is a great way to discuss how jellyfish are made. You're going to need a coffee filter, watercolors, my kids have been using them, and you are going to let the kids paint the coffee filters with the water paints. When the children are done, all I did was I poked these little holes with a pencil. They don't have to be very big, and just make sure your pencil's sharp, which this one isn't very sharp. And after you get a little hole in there, then I have all these different threads and stuff, which at that point we discuss the body makeup of this jellyfish, and then we start discussing the tentacles and how they can actually sting you and how long they can get, how some have just a few, some have a lot. I mean, it just opens up a whole new world. And basically, I'm just there to try and answer any questions that they have. And like I said, once again, I don't have internet out here, so I don't use my laptop, so I try to look for things at home. So when I'm at school, cell phone, smartphone. Google is a wonderful tool.
So as my kids start asking me questions about under the sea animals, such as seahorses and other types of fish, we began doing new projects. Paper plates here. All you need is glue, some paint, paintbrush. I mean, just little things. I mean, you can use anything around the house. I mean, after all, when we made our jellyfish, as seen here with the blow-up fish, all I did was take a coffee filter and have the kids use water paint on them, and then we let them dry, and then I put strings in the end. The seahorses here, believe it or not, are actually paper plates. You can go to Pinterest and type in paper plate seahorses to find this project. You can find a lot of neat things. And as you can tell, I go a little overboard with my under the sea. And again, construction paper, scissors, glue, sometimes a few extras. And here, once again, you see with our squid is...
Can you guess? Toilet paper rolls. Simply have your kids paint these all the way through. Cut a few slits in the end. Take a string through each side that you can tie so it's hanging up. And then simply curl your little slits that you've done. You'll have little legs and you'll want to curl that up. And then you can just glue eyes on them. Let them glue whatever they want. And there you have a new decoration for your under the sea. Lots of neat things.
Here you can see where I have just simply taken blue plastic tablecloth and put it over two shelves. This is the bottom side of a mat that I put down on the floor, and simple bathtub blow-up fish hanging from a string through little holes in the tablecloth. Throw in a couple of cheap snorkel masks and they're under the sea swimming. Of course, we have the clownfish, which to the kids is Nemo. And discussing Nemo led to the discussion on questions of Australia. So then when they started wanting to know about crocodiles and they found platypuses very interesting, they like to learn about sharks and the outback, and they like to learn about catching crocodiles. So our trip to Australia included Crocodile Lake, where the kids could go and play games with the blow-up crocodiles. We made a life-size kangaroo so they could see how big a kangaroo actually got. This one's made out of poster board that I've taped together and paint. And then, once again, this is what we call our toilet paper roll platypus. And yes, you guessed it, once again.
Toilet paper roll, and you thought they were just garbage that you could pitch away. I'm telling you what, a person's best friend.
This was another picture I found on my camera that my students had taken. I found that they love to color my pictures that I bring in. So I try to bring a variety and going with whatever theme we have. And now to where we're at now. I found this book this year called Santa's Coming to Illinois. So, well, of course, like we do every year, we had to have a small tree that we decorate. The kids love to decorate this and redecorate this. So it can be amusement for several days, if not all the way past Christmas, even when time to take it down. You'll find kids love to help, willing to do anything, and you will find them right back messing with that tree, making their perfect little touch ups and everything else. But their favorite thing to do, and what seems to be passed from generation to generation, is making ornaments, which is pretty easy. Just need some flour, salt, water, and a bowl. And you can actually mix this up at home, but I prefer to do it in the classroom. I let the kids pour in the ingredients after I measured them and mix it all together. Then I have a tablecloth out on the table so they don't stick as bad, and they use a rolling pin, and they're very good about taking turns and being patient and sharing. And as you can tell, I tend to have a lot of kids that want to do this project, but you need to make sure they take the rolling pin and roll the dough out about a half inch, if that. I mean, you don't want to go too thin because it'll break real easy, but not too thick or you're never going to get it cooked right. Then what I usually do is, I don't know if you can see on here, but I carve their initials into the ornaments and then place them on the cookie sheet. So when I bake them, I can get them out. Then I let them cool on the wax paper. Notice on the previous slide and this one, there is already a hole in the top. If you don't do that before you bake them, you're never going to get the string through. Then I usually take them in and put them on a piece of construction paper with the child's name. They can paint and decorate them any way they want, and I don't have to worry about if they paint over the carved name because they they're on their own paper. We use all kinds of different things for decoration: paint, glitter, glue. They've even been known to cut ribbons to put on them. We also cut the ribbon to put through the top. So when it's all done, their ornaments hang by a ribbon, and I paint their name in black, so it's a lot more easy for the parents to read and be able to remember. I try to remember the year, but that doesn't always work. Several years ago, we did a project where we glued a bunch of cotton balls to some plywood cardboard that I had taped together and made all these different parts to a snowman because the kids told me the cotton balls looked like snow. And here you can see them gluing some of the cotton balls onto the snowman. And when we finally hung him up, I mean, he was such a success that every year we take him out and the kids add new cotton balls to his body that has fallen off, and we hung him up. Last year, the kids thought this was such a neat idea that they came up with this idea of sliding down a hill. So on my closet doors, I put this paper going down, and the white you see is actually cotton all strung out over there. And the little people you see on there is actually the kids. I took pictures of them in different positions. Some of them were jumping, some of them were laying in the snow, making snow angels, some of them were pretending to throw snowballs, and then I printed them out using my computer to like a wallet size, if not mini wallet size. I think it was a wallet size picture. And I'll tell you what, those are not easy pictures to cut out. And then this year, the kids decided we need a reindeer on our door. I cut one out, and one of my school agers actually painted it for me Friday. And this morning, my preschoolers actually got to finish him up. Except we still need to add a few more light bulbs to him. There's supposed to be light bulbs hanging from all over his antlers. So
You can find more information if you go to the National Association for the Education of Young Children, and you can click on the emergence of the emergent curriculum by Elizabeth Jones. It's a very good reading, and it really helps on some aspects. Another thing you might try, I love the article on free choice and free play in early childhood education. And that was written by Elizabeth Ann Wood, and it is in the International Early Years of Education, or International Journal of Early Years of Education. And once again, the science part of it, I found an article called Fearless Science in the Early Years, Co-Construction with Rural Childcare by Barbara Jordan and Sue Smorti is what it looked like it said. I'm not real good at pronouncing names. But there are lots of resources out there about the emergent curriculum. And like I said, it is very easy. Once you see a child's interest, just kind of build on that. You can take little steps, sometimes bigger steps. You can try things like, let's say my kids are asking me about different names of dinosaurs. So I will try to get a bunch of dinosaur books and bring those in. And then as the kids ask more and more questions, I try to make sure I have more and more answers. And I try to have pictures, and sometimes we'll even kind of turn everything into like we're excavating. The key to it is really observation. Observation is the most important part of the emergent curriculum. If you can just watch your kids, you'll see. I mean, they have so many questions and they're just so curious, and that's the whole point of the emergent curriculum, is to build on that curiosity. Another thing about the emergent curriculum is it helps kids with their social interactions. I often find my older children helping the younger children with certain projects or certain games we're playing. They'll try to explain the rules and stuff. So you'll find that the emergent doesn't just teach them and doesn't just build on their curiosity, but it also helps their social interactions. You'll find that they tend to really help each other out, and it's really good to build on that. And I think that's all for now. I've got some coloring pictures to hang up. I apologize for doing this video on work, but you know how that goes. Trying to work and get everything done at once. I mean, working with children, it's very interesting. I guess I kind of go with Witowski's theory of we're not teachers here to control them or, conform them, but we are more or less here to guide them and help them learn themselves. I mean, one day they're going to have to know how to learn without the help of an adult. I mean, when they become adults, if we don't start teaching them now, when will they learn? I believe in play. I don't think it should all be academics. I think there's a way to incorporate play into everything that the child learns. So with that, I will say good night. And I hope you all enjoyed our class tonight. Thanks.